Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The opinions of hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the opinion of this network.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama. This is Ghost Talk with 187 PI. Sit back and prepare yourselves for an adventure into the paranormal world with host Shelly Robertson and 187 PI research team. Ghost Talk is broadcasting live from Ohio's most haunted jail. Learn about their ongoing research at the jail and abroad, investigation techniques, and their personal encounters. Here is your host of Ghost Talk and 187 PI founder, Shelly Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson, and I'm coming to you live on this New Year's Day, 2021, from the haunted old Paulding County Jail. And tonight's show is, you know what, it's a special, and it's absolutely fantastic because we have all of the show hosts of all the shows on our station, WBHM-DB. And tonight we have the owner of the station and the voice of Fate Mag Radio and Paranormal Experience. We have Kat Hobson here tonight. We have got Denise Pridemore from the Paranormal Pride Show. And we have Teal Gray from Para Mysteries. And we also have Brian and, forgive me, I'm so bad at this. Hello, Brian. Chip in. Any of you guys on the other show? I'm doing a bad job here.
Hi, I'm Pete Haviland from our show, Full Spectrum Project.
Full Spectrum Project. You see, it left me so quickly.
And as long as you remembered me, it doesn't matter that you didn't remember Pete, by the way.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Pete will get you.
Hey,
Pete will get you.
Sorry. I'm the important one. What can I say?
Oh, here we go.
And I'm trying to get Angie, but she's not answering yet.
I'm having to start off apologizing. This is not good, Brian.
But it's not unusual.
It gets better.
It's not unusual.
Start the year like you ended it.
And what is so fantastic is everyone has kind of it's all paranormal shows, but everybody's got their own little niche in it, and they're fantastic shows, great guests. And since we're at a round table, let's start off with Kat herself. So let's talk to you, Kat, about your Fate Magazine radio show, when you got into that, and then we'll go around the room, and then we'll get into some great thoughts and on paranormal subjects.
Why does my round table seat have a corner in
it? That's so we can push you in the corner because nobody has named you baby. So.
It's the only place it can fit, too.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm hoping that we have Angie because it looks like she's there. And if not, I will. Hey. So that is good. That is a positive. So
cool.
You want to know about Fate? I got Fate. I actually I met the owner of Fate Magazine at the Ozark Mountain UFO conference a couple of years ago. She's lovely. If you've never met Phyllis, you need to find a way to do so. But, and she's tough as a lighter knot, too. But anyway, when the same person who absconded on us, Shelly.
Wow, yes.
Was hosting Fate Magazine at the time and was not very honorable toward her. But that was then, this is now. But I told her that I'd be glad to, run ads for her or do whatever. Didn't mind a bit. And so we became friends. And she called me one afternoon, and I was sitting out on the deck just, being one with the squirrels and stuff. And when I answered the phone, it was Phyllis. And she said, I have been thinking, and I've been talking to my spirit guides and my trouble dolls. And I was like, you have trouble dolls? And she was so surprised that I knew what those were, right? But hey, I'm a Caribbean kind of mindset girl.
I'm sorry. What is a trouble doll? I don't know what that is.
Trouble dolls are small.
I really don't know. No.
Well, it's cool because they're a Caribbean-based legend, but they are lore, and they are small cloth, normally dolls.
Okay.
If you have troubles, if you're worried, if you're afraid of something, if you have a big project coming up, whatever is happening in your world that you're not coping with well, you tell it to your trouble dolls. You put them under your pillow while you sleep, and when you wake up the next morning, you have your answer. And I have mine.
We thought that same thing. I think I need a couple of those.
Well, my daughter got those for me when she moved to New York. And I've talked to them many a time. So it's really a kind of nifty thing, but kind of a funky thing too. But Phyllis was using them.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Mine would have burned up a long time ago.
I'm all the way out here in California, and I actually have trouble dolls. However, I do. And I actually think they've been on strike for the last few years, but we won't even go into that.
Well, you have to talk nicely to them.
I try.
But anyway, Phyllis's trouble dolls and her spirit guides told her that I was to be the host of Fate Radio and forever and always. And I was just like, wow. I love your trouble dolls. And your spirit guides.
What I always say is that when you have something terrible that happens to you, a lot of times it's clearing a path for something better to come. And so the troubles that we had with the previous network, I think it turned out in our favor.
Okay. Well, I think it did too. And things have turned around for Fate Magazine. And Phyllis is now putting that out by herself. She is doing everything from the layouts to the ad sales to the screening the stories that are going into it. And I have some to give away. I'm going to start giving, since we can't go to events yet, I am going to be giving Fate magazines out. So, hey, Lori Dorsey. So, hey, Sherry Horsick. But I am really excited that I have those. And we also have T-shirts, and she sent me one. I'm so excited. And so I'm going to tell you that those shirts are the bomb. They're comfortable. They're soft. They are, you can tell that, Stevie Tombstone had something to do with that because I love my, Lucky I'm Not Dead shirts. So I think.
Does she have them up on the website for purchase?
They are. And
okay.
And there's actually a buy one, get one. If you get a subscription, I think you get a shirt. And that's a $20 or $25 value. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I'll tell you, when we were at the Scarefest event, the last one we were at we gave away like piles and piles of those Fate magazine. Well, actually, the issues that you had brought up. I mean, people were just scrambling to get those.
Well, we have fantastic writers in them, too. We have...
Great stories.
Yeah. And they cover every aspect of the paranormal and anomalous fields. So does the show. She was... she knew that I was getting very involved in ufology. So I had a lot of friends who would fit in with the Fate, history. And thank you, Denise. But that's right. FateMag.com is that website. So go hit it up and get yourself some magazines. They also have archives. So it's really great. But I have been doing, this year will be 3 years of Fate. So I'm really excited. It doesn't
seem like it's been that long.
Right?
Time has really flown. My goodness.
Yeah, but 6 years going into my 7th paranormal experience with Kat Hobson, and 3 years going into my 3rd year on Fate. So I'm very blessed, and I did not mean to have a network. So that's a blessing too, even though it was in disguise at the time.
That's right. That's right.
Big
blessing
disguise.
In disguise.
Really
exactly
good disguise. But here we all are.
So Denise, let's talk about your show a little bit. When did you get it started, and who's going to be your next guest so people can tune in?
It was April 2015, and I started on the same network that Kat was on at the time, and so I'm coming up on 6 years, and I can be found on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central, right here on WBHM-DB.com. And my next guest is going to be Chuck Banks. He goes under the pseudonym of Charles Anthony for his writing. And he has a new project that's going on that he wants to tell somebody about.
Yeah.
And so this will be the first show where he tells people what his project is. So no one else has had him on yet to talk about this.
Wow.
And so it'll be interesting. He hasn't even told me what it is yet. You know, unlike some of my other guests, they tell me up front what the announcement is. And nope, he hasn't told me. So this is going to
be a surprise for everyone.
Yep. And as I was telling Kat before the show, I'm lucky that I got to be here because we didn't have power this morning because of the ice storm in Kansas.
Oh, no.
So we've been on the Weather Channel all the last few days. So, and then this will be my last show for when I have the show on Monday. I won't have a show for 2 weeks because we're going to Vegas for our next new grandbaby.
Well, so, congratulations on the new grandbaby.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And, you know, since we have to drive, I'm having to watch the weather like a hawk to make sure we can get there safely, because this isn't the time of year to be driving cross country.
Well, safe travels, putting out some positive energy to you for that.
Well, right now, if everything stays the way it is, as the weather looks, we should be able to get there just fine. And we're planning on just getting out there and hanging out. Well, we're going to stay at a hotel for the first few days that we're there until the night before she goes in to have the baby, because we want them to have their time before Grandma starts taking over everything.
and hogging up the baby.
Well, my granddaughter, she's there, and she needs Grandma and Grandpa to be there to watch her, but we don't want to just jump right into that. We wanted to ease her into us being there.
Yeah.
So, and making it all about her. So we get to celebrate Christmas again.
Wow.
Oh, that'll be fabulous.
Yeah, because we told her we'll bring your Christmas presents when we come. We're not going to mail them. This way we can at least be there. And I said, you get to have a second Christmas. She already celebrates Hanukkah. She celebrates Christmas, and now she's going to celebrate Christmas again. And and we're going to take her shopping so she can pick out something for baby brother. But this is a kid that she investigated out at the Pioneer Saloon.
Mm-hmm.
We took her out there, and she had the little the ghost meter, because the Mel meter's too expensive.
Yeah.
She's got the little ghost meter, and she's walking around investigating everything. And when it went off, she goes, "Grandma, it's going off." And she was only 3. And she just had a great time out there. But she was the life of the party. They had a band out there.
Those ghost meters. I know they're cheap and everything, but I like mine.
I like those too. And they're, because they've got that big broad top. The whole thing lights up. I think that's cool.
Well, I like the gauge on it. I like the gauge on it where you can watch,
Yeah. And so for her, it was real easy because she, we just tell her point it like a flashlight, and she did. But she stole everybody's hearts out there. We took her out there, and there was a band, and she just started tapping her toes and everything. And she thought that we took her there to see the band.
Wow.
And the band thought that we brought her there for them to see her. So it all worked out great. And she ended up being on a bunch of people's Instagram stories, her dancing with the band and giving the band money and stuff. It was just funny as heck.
Cute.
But so needless to say, she knows some of our paranormal places out there, and she likes to tell us about all the ghosts. So and that's what she tells everybody. She'll tell everybody, my grandma sees ghosts. And so it's interesting at that. But that's what's going on in the Pridemore world right now. Is we're just looking forward to getting out the door next Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And getting out there to be just Ron and Denise, Grandma and Grandpa, to the other grandkid, and meeting Mr. I think his name's going to be Nolan. So unless something changes, we want to meet Mr. Nolan.
Awesome. Now we'll talk to you, Miss Teal Gray. Tell me about Paramysteries. And that's a fascinating thing to me because I am all about mysteries. I really am.
Well, there's some great ones, and it's great to be here with all of you tonight. I guess I'm the newbie on the block, but I've been doing this for a long time. I won't tell you how long. I don't want to tell my age. This too early in the year for that. But
I know the answer. I know the answer.
You do. Okay, the check's in the mail. The check's in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
Quiet, Pete.
Sorry, but I knew that answer.
It's to me, it's fascinating because I do a lot of world travel and going to sacred sites, and a lot of people don't realize I'm doubly an ordained minister. So I've decades and decades I've studied, all ancient texts, different religions, and the way we move through this world and the history that comes with us, and so much of the folklore and things that it's really more than just tales. And people say, well, some of the stuff as it's passed through, history, doesn't that lose something like the old phone game where as a kid you'd say you'd pass, you'd whisper in somebody's ear, and by the time it got through 3 or 4 people, it was totally wrong. But that's not the case in oral histories. It's not the case at all. Historically, they are very accurate, and through the years, because I think it's such a serious part of their lives, and it was taken very seriously to be the storyteller of any group, still is, so they took great pride in it, and care in the stories remain the same, which are incredible when you are figuring out maybe some of the new cryptozoology, theories, even ufology, all of it. If you have those base histories that you can go back to and tap into with some of the new theories, it really helps a lot to put together some of these mysteries. And sure, until you have them, before you, with the interview mic in front of them, it's all speculation. But it does help us to kind of put together, some solid possibilities for some of the things that happen in the world. So that's what the show is really about. I also talk a lot about and have written about angels, light and dark. So it's a little bit mystery, a little bit religion, a little bit of planetary and science, and I like to just kind of mix it up for everybody.
Wow, very, very interesting.
I expected you to say a little bit rock and roll.
It is a little bit rock and roll, right? Yeah, a little bit rock and roll. Got to keep it fun, moving forward.
Absolutely.
And now we're up to Pete and Brian and Andy with we're going to get to all the information about them after we take this very short break. Okay, folks, and we'll be talking to Pete and Brian and Angie when we come back. You are listening to WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson. And tonight we've got the New Year's special show going on with all of our fantastic show hosts here on station WBHM-DB. And prior to the break, we getting to know Kat a little bit and Teal Gray and Denise Pridemore. And now we're up to Brian Clune, Pete Havlin, and Angie Mole from the Full Spectrum Project. So how about you guys tell us a little bit about how you got started, a little bit about your show, and what you got coming up next.
All right, but before we get going into the show, I just wanted to say that for everybody out there, for all of the show hosts, for those of you like me that were born in a barn, just wanted to let you know that my door is always open.
Okay.
And we're off.
Pete always does that when I give out these little bits of, like advice and opportunities and stuff. I don't know what it is with him, but he just doesn't like me doing that. So
they're dad jokes, dude. Come on now.
Who's dad?
Did you say dad jokes?
Yeah, dad jokes.
bad jokes or dad jokes?
We torture Kat every week with a couple of dad jokes. I'm surprised that she hasn't flushed the show yet.
I love your show.
Actually, I know she was thinking about it. Well, actually, she was thinking about flushing me, but we won't go there at all. So
hey, we have resolved everything, and we have gotten to where we communicate. I think we communicate great.
I agree. So, Pete, the Full Spectrum Project was your brainchild. Take it away.
Yeah, well, this is actually the second version of the Full Spectrum Project. I asked Brian to come on after we had interviewed him on another show that I was co-hosting at the time, and we became pretty good friends. And we've been doing this since about August. I mean, so we're real new at it.
No. Actually, I think our first show was April, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it was last April.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not even a year into this yet for us, but we kind of go. Our type of show is kind of like a modern day In Search Of. We try to we handle ghosts, UFOs, weird deaths, mysteries. I mean, just pretty much anything that really catches our eye. We've had a lot of really good guests.
Yeah, true crime. I mean, literally
true crime.
Everything.
Yeah.
I love that.
Matter of fact, we just had a big discussion, a couple of big discussions. One was on the JFK assassination, and another one was on the Amityville Horror House. And just to say, it's kind of a little bit along the lines of what we do. As far as my background goes, I've been doing this for like 30 years or so. As far as 35 actually, as in the field. I'm a hypnotherapist by trade.
And you say I'm old.
You are old. You're older than me. You could be my older brother.
But I'm much better looking.
Yeah, well, plastic surgery does wonders. I'm also a licensed private investigator, so I it's kind of my take on things. I studied parapsychology. I apply parapsychology theories and trends to what I do, and
good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating.
Unfortunately, Angie has sort of taken over our fan base. So Pete and I don't have any fans. They're all Angie's fans, which is really kind of scary.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you that Weird World News is awesome.
It is. And it was one of those things where we just thought, all right, what can we do to make the show a little bit different? And Pete said, well, he kind of remembers that we sort of had a paranormal news segment when we were doing Planet Paranormal Presents, and it kind of morphed because we didn't want to do the same thing into the Weird World News. And then he's like, well, I have a friend that'd be great for it. And he brought Angie on, and it's just taken off, and people literally love that segment of the show. As a matter of fact, I think it goes for almost a half an hour now, doesn't it?
It does. But Angie will, when she's coming out of it, say, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and boom, y'all can just move on. So it works out perfect.
It does. So
she really does that well. And she actually is not in this call. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble adding her, because she deserves to be in here. She's pretty amazing. Yeah, it says that she's unavailable.
It's got to be the jail.
It's something, but I'm not at the jail. So that place is where y'all just have to. We'll catch up about the jail. That jail is astounding. So.
Yeah, and you'll all have to make a trip down here one time.
Yes, please. I'm in California, and we're under complete lockdown. We're not even supposed to leave the house. So
my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going freaking stir crazy.
And that's just fun.
Well, Teal's in Texas, but as soon as I can, I will get up there.
That's right.
She's free to travel.
Also.
Pete is too. And Angie too.
Yeah, Angie's in Texas.
Well, I'm here. I'm here a lot. So whenever you guys want to come, you just give me a yell. And,
okay.
And, we can do that.
Oh, we yell a lot.
Yeah, Pete usually yells at me.
And they both yell at me.
The road trip. Oh boy.
I just say make sure you have that electronic cattle prod handy.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you might need that to round up a couple of us.
What is it with Texas and electronic cattle prods? My wife my wife keeps saying that Angie and Pete are supposed to send her a cattle prod for me. She keeps saying every time I put out a little bit of advice. Yeah,
it explains a lot. Believe me.
There's a lot of answers there.
Explains a lot. Listen, we'll save it for the road trip. We'll make it a big surprise for you.
Yeah, I'll get the
that'd be fabulous.
all fired up.
I'm actually thankful
round everybody up.
because Angie was actually supposed to send the cattle prod to my wife before we went on a road trip to Texas, and thank God it never arrived.
Oh my!
I'm hoping it got lost in transit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably went by way of China.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what everybody's most like. I'm gonna say what your most maybe frightening experience has been in the paranormal. Something that just really stands out to you, and was actually a little frightening. How about Brian and Pete? Start off. You got any stories on something that frightened you?
Well, actually, since I kind of look at things a little differently, I haven't really been frightened on a site. I look at these folks to be people, and I've really never ever met a stranger. So I haven't really been frightened.
Even in your early days, starting out.
Okay, early days, 18 years old. Yeah, I remember one of my first investigations got me really started on all this stuff. Let's see. I had heard that there was a house out by where I lived that this lady had been experiencing noises, and me being the type of person that runs towards stuff instead of runs away. I guess I'm stupid that way. I seeked her out and introduced myself. Now being 18, I'd done some studying and stuff, but nothing that that would allow me to really do anything but observe. And so I introduced myself, and I told her, what I'd heard. And I asked her if it was true. She said that it was. So I just went over there, kind of every day, and we just went over there and talked. She had told me that she was hearing what sounded like footsteps upstairs and boxes moving around. And one day when I went over there, she had made me lunch, and we became pretty good friends. And she had told me that she was getting ready to move. She was older, and her daughter was going to take her back up north because she was getting to the point that she really couldn't deal with the house by herself anymore. So as we were kind of talking, I heard what sounded like a box moving around upstairs. Now, there was nobody there but she and I had been around the house quite a few times before this event happened. So I go upstairs and turn a corner and got hit in the head with a book.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the book. It was.
Are you sure that wasn't me?
I didn't know you by that time. Thank God.
Yeah, because I bought a copy of War and Peace to hit you with now. So
yeah, this was a hardback version of Gone with the Wind, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and the room was kind of set up like a library, so I mean there was no way to really see if anybody was hiding anywhere, and I didn't even see it coming from the corner of my eye, and that kind of scared me to know that there were energies there at that time that could move something with that mass at that speed to hit you, and it hurt. I mean, it wasn't like somebody chunked it at me, but I mean it hurt.
Yeah.
And we went back downstairs, and she was apologizing, and it was that point we were talking about her leaving, and I could see that she was upset, and I kind of at that point in time I kind of figured, well, it might have had something to do with her sadness. I couldn't really pinpoint A to B at this point, but I did know though that I found it really strange that after we had talked about her sadness of moving and things, and that it might have had a correlation. And like I said, at that point in time, I really didn't understand a whole lot about parapsychology and things. Later on, I learned a lot. But, so, yeah, I would say that kind of scared me. I mean, it came out of nowhere.
Wow. What about you, Teal? What about you? Have you got a frightening experience?
I do. I'm laughing because it's one of those things. It sounds, as my daughter says, you need to go think about your life when you can say that it's normal to, see spirits or talk to spirits and, have seen angels, things like this. So with that as a background, this actually was the first time I had been scared. And this was about, I guess was about 4 years ago. And I was in York, England, for the holidays. And I had taken the whole family and a friend of mine. So there was I took 7 people and myself. So there was 8 of us. And we were staying in a 650-year-old house. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous place. Well, of course, it had, stories attached to it, these kind of things. But you could hear a weeping woman, at the top of the second floor. There was all these different stories and kind of things. And it's like, oh, I didn't actually think that much of them, just because I think it was just the busyness of the time and that kind of stuff doesn't scare me. So everybody wanted to go all these different places. We happened to be visiting at a time when they had one of the worst floods in York that they had in over 20 years. So
wow.
Places were having to, evacuate. We were so high up on a hill, we were fine. But, the stores, everything around restaurants, everybody was scrambling to go get stuff. And I said, listen, you guys all go, do what you need to do, get what you need to get. And I'll stay here just in case anything happens on this end, all that. Everything will be fine. Everything will be great. And several of the people were like, are you sure? Because, while this place is gorgeous, it's kind of spooky. And I said, oh, of course, this is where you get into trouble with this bravado. And I was like, right. Please, this is what I do. This is nothing to me. This place is not, no way is there a thing here that's going to bother me. And they're like, okay. And I was like, oh, please. I said, in fact, I'm going to go take a nap. Well, I didn't take a nap. So I'm all full of myself. And I just didn't feel bad. And I don't think it was bad. I think it was just wanting to interact. And it really played out like a bad B movie for me. It's the only way I can describe it. All the things that you think are rubbish or, oh my God, that's just something that would be in a, cheaply made movie for effect happened. It happened just like boom, boom, boom. First thing that happened. And I thought, oh, this is weird. I had forgotten there even was a wall phone there because the guy had said, all the, that kind of stuff had been disconnected. It didn't work. And I said, oh, well, that's fine. Well, we're not going to use that anyway. We got our mobile phones. So no problem. So anyway, they're not even gone 15 minutes. and the phone rings. So I dash up to the second floor. It was a 3-story house. So on the second floor is where the phone was. And actually the phone happened to be in the part of the wing that I was staying in. So I answered the phone, and I just heard this, and it started to get louder and louder. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I hung up, and I hung up, and I said out loud, this is ridiculous. If you want to talk to me, you want to communicate with me, then just do it. This garbage on the phone, I don't know. I'm sure that this is just a mishap, right? Well, the phone starts ringing again, and I had this chill come through me because I thought, you know what? You're just mouthing off just right and left, and you're not going well. So immediately I knew nobody was there because I had, walked down there, locked them out on the first floor, and you could hear on the third floor heavy boots, like boom, 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 walking across the floor to come to the door. And the phone's ringing, and I pick up the phone, and this voice is like, and it gets louder and louder. I dropped the phone. I will say I didn't run, but I walked as fast as you could possibly walk before you start running down the second flight of stairs to the first and left. And I could still hear the boots, And so I went out into the courtyard, locked the door, and I was like, okay, get a grip here. Something had to happen. And what worried me is maybe somebody somehow had broken in, And so I get myself together, and I'm like, you got to suck it up, Buttercup. Go back through this place. And there was nothing had been unlocked. There was no windows, no nothing. Nobody was there, but it's that heavy kind of a weird feeling to the air. It's like nobody's there, but it's more than that. It's just a weird feeling. And that night, they kept tapping on my window by my bed, and I'd look thinking it's a bird and realizing there was no way that could be a bird for me. And then the classic things that had never happened to me before, where, you get the covers pulled off of you, things like that. So everything happened like a bad B movie to me for that week I stayed there. But it actually, it didn't bother me enough to change rooms or move or do anything else, but it really did wake me up to the fact that, hey, those are in those movies because it happens, so I had to eat a little bit of crow, and but it did. I will say that the phone situation, because it wasn't connected and it ringing like that bothered me more than anything else. But I think part of it is because, you hear heavy boots or something on another floor and you're by yourself. I never do. I'm just practical. And I always think somebody broke in or it's something else. I don't automatically go to Aunt Tilly or, Uncle Bob or whoever is going to visitation. I think someone broke in. So part of me was startled, for the biggest part, thinking, oh my God, there's somebody in this house, and there wasn't, so, but yeah, it was really interesting. So that one I would have to say was the first time I ever, as I say, I didn't run, but I shuffled quite quickly down and out of that place. So it was pretty neat. It was a really interesting place because in the courtyard was walled off from everything else and had these big old keys to get in the gate to even get to the courtyard to get to the house. And part of the wall was still there. It was the old Roman wall. So it was a really, really beautiful place. And I can't wait to go back again. But I won't be in such a bravado mood with them. I'll have a lot more respect for the possibility of what could happen. So that would be my scary one.
Well, that was a fascinating story, you two, Brian and Pete and Teal. And when we come back after this short break, we will hear about Denise's and Kat's most terrifying experiences. You are listening to WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson. And if you missed the first part of the show, no worries, folks. You can check it out and get the full show archive on Spreaker, Google Play, iTunes, and iHeartRadio at your leisure. As a matter of fact, pretty much anything that you're subscribed to, you can find us there and get the show archive. And tonight is a fantastic show special with all the show hosts on WBHM-DB radio station. And prior to the break, we were talking about our most terrifying paranormal experiences. And next, we are up to Denise Pridemore. Have you got a terrifying experience you want to share with us?
My most terrifying experience was actually an out-of-body experience when I was 10 years old, when I saw my father be murdered by his father.
Oh.
So to me, I mean, it's all real. I mean, it was completely real. And I was actually like 17, 19 miles away from where my father was killed.
Wow.
And the thing is my dad didn't get killed. Well, he got stabbed in one place, but he died in the hospital. And I saw it all from before he got stabbed to the last thing he said when he died.
Oh my.
And so I had an out-of-body experience before that when I was 4. But I was 4.
Right.
You don't know what's real or whatever. And my family had convinced me that I didn't have that out-of-body experience. Basically, you just have a very active imagination, Denise. And that was, I witnessed my grandmother's murder. I was in New Jersey. She was in Maryland. So, there's no way I could have known that she had been killed. But again, you can wipe out the first one because I was 4, because you don't know what to be scared of when you're 4. You're scared of everything. You're scared my dad always told me that there was a devil under my bed, and if my foot hung over the edge or my hands hung over the edge, it was going to grab me.
Right.
So needless to say, everything before that didn't really matter very much because, you can reason it away, or you can say, my parents just said I was a nutty kid. And so, but when I was 10, and I got up the next day and told my mother everything that had happened in front of my dad's girlfriend, who was there with him and witnessed all this. I know, mother and girlfriend, odd situation. It was 1975. There was a gas shortage. No, I'm not going to go into that. But it was a different time. And and the girlfriend, my dad's girlfriend, confirmed everything I said was right. And that was when my mom told me, you can't tell people what you see and what you hear. And that's when she believed that I could see. And but again, that it took an experience that was so real, that was real, but I could feel it all, you know. That was the scariest thing that ever happened to me in a paranormal sense.
That is pretty tragic and terrifying to me. That would, yeah, that's what an experience.
Yeah, the good news is that my dad's death made me the person that I am. He made me strong, and you know, here I am today. Never been to jail, you know, things like that. That, you know, this could have went really bad.
Oh yeah.
So the way I look at it is, he made me the strong person that I am today. And did it create the feeling I needed to be in the paranormal? That did not. It's just the paranormal was in my blood from the time I was born. So it is what it is. So
wow. I mean,
can anybody beat this? Come on.
I don't know. I don't know. That's pretty almost makes me speechless to have had something like that happen. You know, that's pretty horrific, actually.
It is, but like I said, I could use it as an excuse for every bad thing that happens in my life.
Well, sure.
Or I can use it as the reason why I do everything in my life the way I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And after, my dad's been dead 45 years, 50 years. Nope, 45. He's been dead 45 years. It's just, I'm just so used to it now that it doesn't seem to be.
I mean, did it leave a mental imprint? I mean, do you see that scenery ever? You know what I mean? Did it affect you?
There are times that I do, but it seems to be more around times that would be family times.
Right.
Like Christmas, or it would happen it happened on July 3rd. So Independence Day sucks for me. So my mind has to be somewhere else. I have to be busy. So I don't think about it. But then, of course, sometimes it comes to me when I'm not thinking about it, and that's the part that I can't control. But what's strange is that there have been maybe only 2 more out-of-body experiences that I've had in this amount of time since I was 10. And could be because...
Were they tragic events? All of them? Were all of them like something tragic?
No. The other 2 were not. It's just the first 2 were, and I guess that those were the life-changing events for my family.
Right.
So, like I said, it is what it is. I kind of have to let it be what it was at the time, and make sure that I don't make it a negative thing going forward, you know, which is what I've done. I deal with death in a very, very healthy way, I guess. I don't dwell on it. But I will say the worst part was losing my whole family after that. After my dad died, my mom took us in hiding. Basically, we always had an unlisted phone number. We moved around a lot. We made sure that my grandfather could never find us again, and that none of that family knew where we were until 1998.
Wow.
So, like April never would have known that I was her cousin if in 1998 I hadn't went on a road trip across country and stopped by to see our aunt, and our aunt called her dad to introduce us as adults.
Wow.
So it's a I guess if I went into this story, it's amazing that I have as much family as I do, and I have so much family I don't even know everybody well. I did when I was a kid. Before I was 10, I knew all my dad's side of the family, knew everybody. So until then, until I was in my 30s, I did not know any of them anymore. And so that road trip, when I went across country I went to Virginia Beach. I went to Williamsburg to study at the College of William and Mary for a week. And when I did that, that's when I stopped in to see them. And that's when I got my family back.
And that was a horrifying experience, I will say. And next, let's hear from Brian. Do you have a terrifying paranormal experience you'd like to share?
Terrifying. I don't know whether this would classify as terrifying or not. But Alcatraz, and it's kind of funny because you're kind of broadcasting from a prison, and I was going to say my most interesting, let's put it as interesting thing that I have had happen during investigations happened during one of the overnights at Alcatraz prison. And it was the first night that my team had stayed there. There was myself, my buddy Bob, Ash, who unfortunately is no longer with us, and his wife. And it was probably about, I'd say 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else that was doing the overnight was sound asleep on the island. And we were like, you know what? This is Alcatraz. No way are we going to sleep. We didn't know whether we'd ever be able to get back to Alcatraz to do an overnight. Luckily, we did actually the following year, but this time we were like, you know what? No. So we were in the medical isolation ward, which is just above the mess hall at Alcatraz. There's a stairwell that you go up, and when you go into the medical isolation area, you walk through what I would say is a normal door, but it has bars on it.
Right.
So when you go in, there is a room to your left, which wasn't accessible because the prison was using it as storage. There was a room directly in front of us, which again, you could get in, but it had a bunch of stuff that they were storing in there. And then there is a room off to the right, which is a very large room, completely empty except for the standard metal folding chairs. And then in the left corner is another door that we couldn't open, but it actually